So here are more examples on solving equations. Let's try to look at 5 times 2x minus 3 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. Okay, so what do you think should we do here? Distribute. So what's our next step? I mean, what's the next here? Can you dictate? 10x minus 15 equals 3x minus 6. Okay, let's maintain our x on the left side. So I see a minus 15. What do we do so that we can only have 10x on the left side? Divide by divide. It's minus 15. Always think of the opposite operation. Minus 15. So how can we make that 0? Add 15. Okay, so 10x minus 15 plus 15 is equal to 3x minus 6 plus 15. Okay, by doing that, it is now 10x because negative 15 or minus 15 plus 15 is 0. And then 3x is still 3x. But what about minus 6 plus 15? What's minus 6 plus 15? Negative 6 plus 15 in another way is 15 what? 15. How do you write it in a different way? Minus 6 plus 15 is the same as, or if you can tell me what's minus 6 plus 15. How do we know if it's negative or positive? Positive 9. Why again it's positive? 15 is bigger. Okay. So plus 9. Okay, but there's an x here. We don't want this x. Remember, we want to keep all the x on the other side. So let's apply the same idea. So what should I do now? How do we remove 3x? Minus 3x, okay? On both sides, right? So 3x minus 3x plus 9. Okay, so what is 10x minus 3x? This is 10x minus 3x. What's 10x minus 3? 7x. What will happen to 3x minus 3x? 0. So we only have 9. Okay, and then we divide by, how do we solve for x? Divided by, what should I divide 7x? So that we can just have x. 7. Okay, and then 7. So it's equal to 9 over 7, and that's our x. And again, if you want to make sure if it's correct, you can plug it. But as you can see, it's a fraction. Sometimes it's not easy to check it. Okay, but what you can do, you check your steps if you're doing everything right. Okay, so that's 9 over 7. If you want to write it in a mixed number form, it's 1 and 2 over 7. 7 times 1 plus 2 is 9, so it's 9 over 7. Okay, you see the difference between the first example and the second. So this one, you have two expressions that you need to apply some distribution and then add or subtract expression, maintaining x on the other side. Can we do that on the other side as well? Yeah, of course. But just to make it more systematic, so just make sure the x is on the left side. Okay. And then Let's have another example. Let's have C, so which is 2x minus 3 over 5 is equal to 7. Okay, so just try to recall how you did this last time. Maybe you already have an idea what to do. So I have 2x minus 3 over 5 equals 7. If there are fractions involved, there are some specific steps that you can do immediately. Okay, note, I can't have plus 3 immediately because I have over 5. So we can't do that. So what should we do? We need to find a way so that there will be no more over 5. Okay? Over 5 is the same as dividing by 5. Again, if we think of reverse operation, what's the reverse operation for division? Multiplication. So if I have something here divided by 5, to reverse that, what should I do? Multiply by 5, okay? And remember, you're working with equations, so you have to make sure that what you do on the left side is done on the other side. So times 5 here, and then times 5 here. Now, there are mini steps on what will happen here, but since you studied this before, what will happen to 5 over 5? 1, right? It's like you cancel them. So you have 2x minus 3 equals 7 times 5, which is equal to 35. Okay. And then, can you tell me what to do next? So 2x minus 3 is equal to 35 plus 3. 2x minus 3 plus 3 is equal to 35 plus 3. Once you get used to adding or subtracting, you can actually do that mentally, and you know what will happen on the next step. Because all the time, this will become 0, right? So equals 35 plus 3, which is equal to 38. And finally, how do we find x? Divide by 2. See? It's always that number. You don't think of 3, 4. That it's here already. It's 2. Okay, so x is equal to, what is 38 divided by 2? In other words, what's half of 38? No, that's 14. When you double that, it becomes 28. Write it on your paper in any process that you know. What did you get? What's half of 38? 19. Okay, good. So x is equal to 19. And then again, you can check if you want by just putting the 19 on x. And that means 2 times 19. When you check, so you see what's 2 times 19 minus 3. And then when divided by 5, will that be equal to 7? If the answer to that question is a yes, then that means 19 is correct. Okay, so let's just go over the steps. There's over 5, so we multiply both sides by 5. So that's 5 over 5 is 1. We have 2x minus 3 equals 7 times 5 is 35. And then the rest of the steps will be like how we solved the previous example. Okay, so in some cases, what you are trying to do is actually how to make it look like the simple equations. Because after multiplying by 5, it became a very simple equation already. Again, always think of reverse operations. If it's minus, it's plus. If it's plus, it's minus. If it's multiplication, you divide. If it's division, you multiply. Okay, so always think of the reverse operations. Let's look at the one more example. Okay, so we have 4x minus 3 over 5 is 2x minus 7 over 8. Do you know any method? Like what should we do here? So some people say, oh, you cross multiply. Okay, that's actually an expression. Okay, but mathematically, what's happening in the cross multiplication is like this. We will try to eliminate 5 and 8. So we have to think of a number that is divisible both by 5 and 8. And in this case, I can think of a number, and that number is 40. Because 40 divided by 5, there's a whole number 8. And 40 divided by 8 is a whole number 5. When the answer is a whole number, that means the number that we are thinking or we are considering is the number that we need. Okay? And you can use 80 if you want. You can make it larger, but the result will be the same in the end. Okay, but let's work on smaller values. Okay, so again, whatever I do on one side, I have to do it on the other side. So what will happen to 40 over 5? What's 40 over 5? We did it a while ago. It's 40 divided by 5. 8. Okay, so that 40 over 5 is just 8. And then 4x minus 3. What about 40 over 8? 5. So we can write 5 before the 2x minus 7. Okay, and it becomes like the equation that we were solving a while ago, right? It looks like the letter B now, something that we can solve. Okay, now just to share with you what other people do, is that they say, right, cross multiply. So you have 8. That's what they're doing. So 8 times this, which is basically 8 times 4x minus 3. Then 5 times 2x minus 7, which is basically the one on the other side. Okay, you can do that if you understand what is the mathematical reason why you can just have 8 on the other side and 5 on the other side. Okay, but actually we are multiplying 40 both sides. And then, so after this, so this will be, so let's just go through this quickly. So 32x minus 24 is equal to 10x minus 35. Okay, I need to eliminate minus 24. So I have to add what number?
20.
Plus 24 is equal to 10x minus 35 plus 24. So this will become 32x, and this is equal to 10x, and then minus 35 plus 24.
Minus 24.
Are you sure? No?
Oh, sorry.
What will happen to these two numbers? What's minus 35 plus 24? What's the difference of 35 and 24? Hmm? How much more should you add to 24 to get 35? But there's a faster way of identifying that. What's minus 35 plus 24? Remember on opposite signs, when you have a minus and a plus, or a negative and a positive, how do you combine them? You take the difference of the two numbers, right? Because they're not of the same signs. So this is 11. So the question is that 11 a negative number or a positive number? Negative. Why is it negative?
Negative 35 is bigger.
Okay, so this is minus 11. And then we don't need the 10x, so we subtract both sides by 10x. 10x minus 10x minus 11. So this will become 0, right? So we have 32 minus, this is 32x. 32x minus 10x is 22x equals, this is now 0 minus 11. And then we divide by 22. We divide by 22. So x must be, so this is a fraction, so we reduce it by 11. So negative 1 over 2. Because 11 is exactly half of 22. So 11 divided by 11 is 1. 22 divided by 11 is 2. And because this is negative, so the answer must be negative. And then again, we check. Okay, so just before we end this, I want to show you how some people solve it. Okay, because this is like the complete process. But sometimes you need to simplify your work as long as you understand what's happening in the equation. So I'll use the same example and I'll show you a faster way of doing it without mentioning of the properties. Okay? So this is how they do it. Okay, they cross multiply immediately. So 8 times 4x is 32x minus 24. Then you cross multiply 5, you have 10x minus 35. Right? So what other people do is that they combine all the steps in a single one. We need to take away minus 24, so that means we have to add 24 on the other side, right? On both sides. And when we do that, the 24 will be cancelled. And then we want to eliminate 10x, right? So we subtract 10x. So as you can see, in this step, we have plus 24 and minus 10x at the same time. Some people say transfer, but that's not mathematically correct. There's no transferring actually. But what is happening is you're subtracting or adding expressions. So minus 10x here, so minus 10x on the other side. So this will be 32x minus 10x. Then after that, it will be the same steps. 22x is equal to negative 11. And finally, will lead you to negative 1 over 2. So shorter, okay? But you need to understand what's the reason or what are the reasons why this equation became this equation. Okay? Any question? Okay, so that's it.